Hope everybody had a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving and stayed safe. Everyone's good to go. Hope your families enjoyed it. Hopefully, no one got too crazy at the dinner table talking trash or politics, whatever you want to talk about here, or whatever you guys talk about at your dinner table. But let's get back to football because things are getting very, very, very interesting for us. This Week 13 game at the Bucks on Sunday. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Law. If you're already part of the squad, I appreciate you for being here since day one. If you're new here, smash the sub button. It really helps out the channel. And the more we grow, hey, the better content we can bring you guys every single day. Bird Gang, let's get right to it because we have an interesting thing going on this weekend. Okay, this looks like a 3-8 Cardinals team, right? Traveling across the country to face one of the NFC's best, but that's not really the reality anymore, is it? With Tampa Bay, okay, because they've fallen off a cliff. They lost 4 of the last 5. They dropped 3 straight, and now their quarterback, the heart of their offense, and honestly, arguably the heart of their team, is dealing with a painful shoulder injury. This matchup is nowhere near as lopsided as it looked a month ago, is it? Let's break it down. So they started off hot. You guys remember the Bucks were 3-0. Baker was an MVP candidate, and all that stuff. Then they went 5-1. They look like an elite team in the NFC, but the wheels definitely come off. They lost to Detroit. They lost to the Rams. They lost to New England. They lost to Buffalo. All good or great teams. But here's the problem. If you want to be considered one of the NFC's best, you got to be competitive against the NFC's best. And Tampa has not been able to do that. Instead, they got exposed. Last week, they hit rock bottom, man. That loss to the Rams 34-7, their offense stalled hard. Their defense got gashed. And their quarterback ends up face down on the field as the half expires. I mean, damn, that's just terrible luck. This is not the unstoppable force that Arizona faced a year ago. So let's talk about Baker because his shoulder injury changes everything about this matchup. At the end of the first half last week, Baker Mayfield heaves a Hail Mary. Don't know why he did that, but he falls down. It was a no contact. I don't remember seeing him get hit. I just remember him going down, face down, and the trainer spinning over. He helps him, and they help him get to the locker room, whatever, but he never came back. And then the MRI came back on Monday. Sprained AC joint. No structural damage. Good news for the Bucs long term, but for now, he's absolutely hurting. And Mayfield himself admitted it. He said, quote, if it's going to hinder how I play, then I probably won't go, end quote. This is a guy who's played through pain before. He's a tough dude. Back in Cleveland, he played through a torn labrum, a partial rotator cuff tear, and a cracked bone in his shoulder. It ruined the hell out of his season, and it took his trade value, and it made him look like a bum, but he knows what happens when you push too far. So now he's being smarter. He's letting the week play out. He's testing his movement. He's trying to figure out whether he can help the Bucs or hurt them. From a Cardinal standpoint, this means we might have to face Teddy Bridgewater, and that absolutely matters because if Mayfield plays hurt, he's limited. If Mayfield sits, Bridgewater hasn't played real football in years. Either scenario gives us a chance to make this ugly and win. So let's look at this. Bridgewater is one of the most respected backups in the league, no doubt about it. Smart guy, good decision making, veteran presence, but he's thrown 8 passes all season long. He hasn't been a full-time starter since 2020. And after his devastating knee injury in 2016, he's never been the same athlete that he used to be. He can absolutely run the offense. What he cannot do is replicate Mayfield's aggression, his improvisation, or his downfield confidence. If Cardinals can force him off the script, if we can pressure him early, if we can make that team be one-dimensional, the game swings dramatically in our favor. And look, Tampa Bay 6-5. We're 3-8. That's the record. But the football story, or the football tells us a different story because the Buccaneers are banged up. They're losing momentum. They're struggling to score, and they're giving up explosive plays, which is good for us. And they're not beating really good teams. And sure, yeah, we're 3-8. I get it. But we've been in almost every game, right? We pushed good teams to the edge. We force turnovers. We don't quit. We're scrappy as hell. This is not the easy game Tampa Bay fans think it's going to be. From our perspective, here's what matters. Pressure whoever is at quarterback. If it's Mayfield, pressure destroys him. If it's Bridgewater, pressure exposes him. With Walter Nolan out, other guys are going to absolutely have to step up. But if they can collapse that pocket, they're going to struggle. Tampa Bay will absolutely struggle. We got to stop the run. Tampa's run game has been the only consistent element lately. And if you take that away, you force Bridgewater or Mayfield, who's beat up, to beat you with their arm. And, I mean, Mayfield's hurt, and Bridgewater, you're going to have to show me, dog, that you still have it. Match the physicality. They are desperate. They're treating this like a must-win because it damn sure is for them if they're trying to make any kind of run towards the playoffs. And we have to match that intensity immediately, off the rip, right away as soon as the game starts. Look, the Buccaneers are talented. They got weapons. They got a defense that can make plays, but they're not a team. They're not the team they were early in the season. And with Baker Mayfield's shoulder still a big question mark, this matchup is even it's far more even than the record suggests. So if they start Bridgewater, we got a shot. Mayfield plays hurt, we got a shot. If we play clean football, controlled football, we have a shot, guys. Don't let that 3-8 record fool you. This is absolutely a winnable game. I know we're missing, Walter Nolan and everything, but Monty didn't just sit on his ass the whole week, right? The whole week. He made a couple moves, nothing crazy, nothing dramatic, nothing game changing, but quiet, basically quiet but interesting roster moves, right? Heading into this game. One of those, it was one of those depth decisions that tells you a little bit about where the team's head is at with the run game and the overall roster structure. So on Wednesday, the Cardinals announced a single practice squad addition, running back Montrell Johnson Jr. Johnson is a rookie who signed with the Philadelphia Eagles his offseason after going undrafted out of Florida. He checks in at 5'11", 212 pounds. He brings a well-rounded profile that could quietly fit what we're trying to do offensively. He didn't stick in Philly, okay, but he was way after training camp and spent a short stint on their practice squad. That doesn't tell the whole story. Because he produced in college. He could ball in college. He was steady and productive across two programs. Just over 3,000 rushing yards, 33 rushing touchdowns, 569 carries, 411 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Solid production, honestly. He spent his first year at Louisiana and then transferred to Florida, where he carved out a meaningful role. For 3 straight seasons, he was good, right? Strong, efficient, showed he can catch football. Awesome. That's something that this offense values, especially Drew Petzing, how he uses running backs in the passing game. He's not a burner. He's not flashy. He's damn sure he's physical, though. 5'11", 212 is not a small guy. Reliable, 100%, absolutely. And has real experience against SEC-level defenses. That absolutely matters. So we made this move for depth, right? We need depth at running back, every position, but definitely running back. So right now, 3 backs on the active roster, and now 2 on the practice squad. With the pounding this run game takes and with how inconsistent the blocking has been, adding another steady body back makes absolute sense. With James Conner out for the season, with Trey Benson still not back from IR, with DeMarcado and Knight and Carter having spurts and good games here and there, but nothing super consistent, you always kind of want that insurance late in the season, and Johnson Jr. is going to give you that. So he's a developmental piece, he's a potential injury replacement, but he's a guy who you can elevate in a pinch. So with him added, the practice squad now sits at 17 players. He was who's in the room. Quarterback, Jeff Driscoll. Running back, Johnson Jr., Sincere McCormick. At wide receiver, Jalen Brooks. Tajon Palmer, who was on the active squad not long ago, on the active roster not long ago. Trent Sherfield, we've seen him in Cardinal uniform before. Tight ends, Ferrell Brown and Messiah Swinton. Offensive line, Jeremiah Byers, Trey Widdig. Defensive line. I can't even speak today. Zach Carter and Denzel Daxon. Linebackers, Jared Bartlett, Elliott Brown, and Channing Tindall. And corners, Chigozie Anuizum and Jaden Davis. The mix of developmental players, veteran insurance, and potential future contributions. Like, that's what you want late in the year. So with this team already ravaged by multiple injuries in multiple spots, having fresh legs at running back isn't a terrible idea. It isn't. It's a good move. So the Cardinals make a quiet but smart move, adding Montrell Johnson Jr. to bolster the depth chart and give ourselves another option as the season winds down. Will he get elevated? He's going to cover the role. Time will tell. But this is the type of addition you make when you're trying to find young talent that can stick around for next year. So we'll have to wait and see here what happens with this running back. Again, I know I talk about these roster additions like they're big time things, but really on the long run, in the big picture, it is a big deal to add another depth piece. You never know what a guy can do on your program. Maybe they weren't so good with the Eagles. He might be good here. So, after missing the last 2 games with an appendectomy, Marvin Harrison Jr. is officially trending in the right direction towards returning to the field. The Cardinals listed him as a limited participant in Thursday's practice, and that is the update fans have been waiting for. But while he's been sidelined, Michael Wilson is balled out as a legitimate number 1 receiver. 2 games, 25 catches, over 300 yards. He showed polish. He showed toughness, timing, and he carried the offense in ways very few people expected. For the first time in a long time, we have a wideout that defenses generally feared every snap. And now imagine adding Harrison Jr. to that. Now, let's be honest. He hasn't met the generational talent expectations from Ohio State, 100%. Strong rookie season, decent rookie season, decent second year. But this year, 34 catches for 125 yards, 4 touchdowns. And again, I know he went out hurt and everything. He needs to pick that up, 100%. And that was before the appendectomy took him out of the lineup, right? He's had moments, he had flashes, but he hasn't been that guy consistently yet. A lot of that is quarterback inconsistency, offensive rhythm issues, definitely offensive line issues, and Harrison himself adjusting to NFL physicality. But a healthy Harrison and ascending Wilson and Trey McBride, That's that big three I was talking about a couple of episodes ago. That's that trio the Cardinals drafted this offense to be. If Marvin Harrison Jr. returns on Sunday, right now all signs point to that being a very strong possibility. We're finally going to get to see Trey McBride, the best tight end in football. Michael Wilson, suddenly one of the hottest receivers in the NFL. And Marvin Harrison Jr. returning hungry and needing to prove something. That's a legit three-headed passing attack. With Kyler Murray still out, Jacoby Brissett has shown he can distribute the ball and keep the offense on schedule. That part shouldn't be overlooked. While we're talking about Harrison's return, we got to mention this. Baker Mayfield's status is still up in the air. He sprained his AC joint. I talked about that here with the shoulder injury and all that. He didn't want to hold the team back, he said, and everything. So, on one sideline, a star wide receiver comes back. On the other, a quarterback will not be able to go. And whose team looks very different when he's not on the game, 100%. Like the Bucs are not the same team when he's not on there. Two very different types of uncertainty. If Harrison suits up, which looks likely, at least possible, here's what it means for us. This offense becomes less predictable. Wilson won't see double teams every snap. McBride finally gets true space to work, and the Bucs secondary has to divide their attention, and Brissett gets his full complement of weapons. Look, we have been scraping by with patchwork lineups all year long, right? Sunday could be one of the first times they truly resemble the offense Arizona managed when they drafted Harrison. And that's huge. That's a massive thing, right? It sucks that it's taking this long, but still, like, that's what we're hoping that it ends up being this big three that I'm really selling to you guys. I know I'm talking it up, but I really do believe this is going to happen. If not this season, absolutely next season. I really do see it that way. So here's where things stand. With Harrison trending upward, right? Wilson is ascending. McBride steady as ever. His passing game might finally have its full identity on the field together. Now we wait for the official word, but unless something unexpected happens, I do expect number 18 back in the lineup on Sunday. Now imagine if we had like James Conner or Trey Benson playing. At the very least, Trey Benson, right? But imagine we had James Conner playing. It'd be a scary, scary offense. I hate that we do this every single season. We end up like having this hope at the end of the season, like, oh man, this offense is gonna look good. Even though we're out of it, like we're completely out of the playoff picture, but like we're gonna look good and all this stuff and all that. And I'm just like, maybe next year, and it's like every single year we just don't carry it, or our dummy front offense lets somebody go, or whatever the case may be. We just gotta hope for the best now. All right, just a few more games. We're gonna limp to the finish here. Hopefully, have some strong games, a couple wins at least. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a wink type of tanking, but I hope that's not what happens. I hate that. I'm a competitor. I want to win, guys. I do. I know you do too. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. No comments on this one today. There was only one comment on the last video. Of course, it was Thanksgiving, so I totally understand. I hope you guys had a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope your holiday season's going awesome. Right now in the world, things are kind of crazy, right? A lot of people can't afford, to pay their bills. A lot of people can't afford, Thanksgiving dinner, can't afford Christmas or anything like that. So my PSA, I guess, would be do something nice for somebody else today, especially during the holiday season. You never know what people are going through, right? Put aside any kind of, if you can put aside any kind of, I don't even put aside anything, but, if you can do something nice for somebody, right? And just tell them, hey, just pay it forward. It might not change the world, but I promise you it'll change how you feel, at least temporarily, right? All right, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Cardinals Daily. I'm Eddie Cuevas. Don't forget to hit that sub, hit the bell, hit the like, leave a comment. I will see you guys all on Monday, hopefully, fingers crossed, for a Victory Monday show, because I'm getting really tired of going like, well, guys, this is another one. So cross your fingers, y'all. Enjoy the game on Sunday. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Hopefully you didn't get too crazy doing Black Friday shopping. And as always, Bird Gang, I'm with y'all every time. Go Cards.